right. So Jan is going to actually do most of the work today because I'm only going to do a very brief introduction. And then Jan, who's the lead programmer at Playbookify, will actually show you how this is done. But our focus today is on how to create UX first applications. Jan is only going to build one screen because otherwise it's going to be like the rest of the day, the session. So just for demo purposes, you'll build one screen so you get an idea on what the flow is from going all the way from design first and then our development flow into the application. But kind of to give you guys an idea on what the end result is, I wanted to start with a demo of the end result. Also because I love to do demos. All right. So Playbookify is an application we built we started in NG 2 years ago, but then Ting came out, and on the tour, Servoy World on tour in Santa Monica, they convinced me to switch, and they said, is it ready for production? And they said, yeah, it's ready for production, yeah. And I should have known, because I worked for this company for 16 years. But no, we jumped all in, and started moving to Ting, but eventually we made it.
Yeah.
We suffered how many bugs, how many tickets? 20?
I don't know. I can count.
More than 20?
Only 20?
Only 20. That was not bad. I remember the days of WebMind. What did you say, Harjo? Every hour a restart on the first version?
Yeah, every half hour.
Every half hour a restart?
Yeah.
We didn't have that. But then we have a test server, and Harjo never uses a test server because he doesn't believe in testing.
No.
Because if you write proper code, why should you test it anyway?
Exactly.
Yeah, you should just write proper code. All right. Yeah. So Playbookify is an app to store, share, and execute knowledge within companies. And oh, by the way, we are looking for resellers. Wants to resell my application? Everybody, fine. So it's essentially a wiki, but then turbocharged. Because the problem with a wiki is it's not actionable. Right? A wiki, let's say you have a repeating process, maybe let's say cleaning a hotel room is a repeating process. You want that process to always be done in the same way. Maybe you want to add an interactive video to the process. But you also want, when your people are using it, to store and collect some data, which in a wiki is not possible. That's why we came up with the concept of playbooks. And let me show you how that looks like. So we still also have support for wikis. So if you really want to make some static pages as well, that's fine. You can do all of that, just like in any wiki. But then the really powerful thing of this software is playbooks. So let's say you're working in a hotel, and I have kind of configured this as a hotel. And then Harjo goes to the front desk and he goes, I have a complaint. And then maybe as a front desk employee you got trained, or maybe you know this very well, but most people, and there's quite a flow of people within hotels, so they may not remember how to do a complaint. So what you would then do is open this playbook, and you could just read it for reference, but you could also say, I'm now going to actually run this playbook. So you'd hit run, and then you would say, let's put in the name of the guest, Harjo. Harjo has a complaint. And then you can assign this playbook to somebody else. So let's say you're a manager, you want to assign it to an employee, you can do that as well. You can also add a deadline if it's maybe releasing a new product version playbook, then you could add a deadline to it, and then you would start a run. Now, if you're running a playbook, it will show up here that you're running. Now you can still read all the, how to handle this complaint. You can watch a movie about how to do this. And then the next step would be to log the complaint. So you can have multiple steps in your playbook, and it will tell you here all the stuff you have to do. And then, so what you want, typically in a process like this, you want employees to actually go in here and say, yes, I listened carefully to Harjo, and I expressed my empathy, which is very unusual for Dutch hotel people. That's why we put it in there, so they are reminded. Oh, we have to show some empathy for our guests. And then maybe confirm the contact, log the complaint, and then thank the customer for bringing the... And then you can put in here the actual complaint, the same system, right? So you don't have to go now... This is the problem with wikis. If you store all your knowledge in a wiki, now you can't collect data. And often, while you're running this process, you want to collect data. So that's really what you can do in short with Playbookify, and you can also easily make your own playbook. So let's say we're going to say new software release, or maybe make a playbook for a new release. And this is all using a solution model, as some of you may have seen already, because now here I can add any kind of component. So we really made this very end user centric, so that any user who's new to the system can create a playbook. So you can choose between static components, which is presenting text, videos, images, but you can also have fillable components. So you could put in a checklist. So, right, you could begin here with a description, and this is just a rich text component, right? So you can format it and do all the kind of stuff that you guys are used to. But you can also put in checklists, or maybe a file upload or a date picker to check various items, right? You could say test it for bugs, etc. So it's very easy to interactively build checklists, gather information, or really anything that you would create an SOP or a playbook for. There are other things in the what the software also does is that you can divide your company into roles, and then you can assign playbooks and wikis to roles. So there's a bunch of role management in it. This uses Servoy security as the basis. It is multi-tenant, so you can have multiple tenants going on. You can even have multiple workspaces, right? So we're not just working in one workspace, but maybe you want one workspace that you share with a customer, because of the multi-tenancy nature of this, you could have playbooks, let's say a customer onboarding playbook that you run together with your end customer. And where you could say, dear end customer, I need you to upload a logo as a next step, and then you could upload a file in it. But there's also policies where you can have, let's say you're ISO compliant, or if you work with Juan, then you want to create a handbook, no swearing while working, and have him sign off. So you can have employees sign off to certain policies. And there's also checklists for something that's really simple, and you maybe don't want to create a whole playbook. You just create a checklist. In particular, recurring checklists are very well suited in. So that's in brief what the application is. And now let's go back to the presentation, where Jan is going to build and show our process of designing with a UX first approach. So without further ado, Jan.
Okay, thank you, Jan.
Everybody's so quiet today. What is that?
Yeah, as you may know me, my name is Jan Silva. I'm a lead developer at Playbookify. Work with Jan to we built Playbookify together with the development team. So you're going to guide you guys here. He's already done the demo. So the why and how, and I'll build a screen with you guys, and then we can pass to the questions. So a little bit of the why. First why first that makes the customer happy, because this tells us how the user is gonna experience how it's gonna be the experience of the user in our systems. This is a really important thing when you are building software, that you have to think, because the user is gonna be working probably all day in the system. So it's really important. And it also saves a little bit of time, development time, because you don't want to the users be complaining, and you being back and forth with those requests. So
Yeah, so we don't start development until the entire UX and UI is done, tested, and ready, and the story is written, and the story is planned, and that it sounds like it's a lot of upfront work, but it saves a lot of development time because you don't run into funny things when you're developing or users changing their mind because we don't start until the UI is done.
yes, so well, we start with the creation of our backlog. So we have our product owner Johan. He comes up with the ideas, and then he creates those XD concepts together with Pin. That's our UX pro, and we work with those concepts to get to a user story that we can work on with the development team. So Jan is also involved in this process. Sometimes we need help to make this work. And then I also review the story to make sure that we have everything we need to go further with the development process. And I also make sure that the architecture it's good enough for us to start to build. Otherwise, we have to go around and build a little bit more of making tables, etc. to back up this story. So we also have a planning together with the development team to see how much effort we can put on this and to estimate how much time this is gonna cost. It's all part of the scope that we are building.
Yeah, so we use a classic agile Scrum approach, 2-week sprints. On a proper sprint, I have to admit they're not all proper, but on a proper sprint, we do the planning before the sprint begins. So we poker with the entire development team, and then we know how much work we can probably do in the next 2 weeks. Then we start with the sprint. At the end, do a sprint review to figure out how did it go. Where did we miss things? Which things went quicker, so that everybody can learn from, what is our actual velocity, that the capacity of the team in building software.
Yeah, so then after we have this story well done to be picked up by the developers, they will be building this, and then there's code review just to make sure that everything's going to be okay. And then we pass to the testing acceptance after we deploy that to a test server, and the product owner Jan and Johan, they will test this and see if everything is okay. We also have another guy to test it in the technical aspect and see if everything is okay, it's functional, and then we go live. Then we reach the users in that part. So, do you want to add something to this?
No, this is I think if anybody has questions to interrupt, then feel free to raise your hand and interrupt.
Yeah, so I will start to build a little thing here. So what we receive within our story, user stories, we have those XD concepts then that you can just go around. We can execute it.
Does anybody use Adobe XD here or not? 1, 2.
Yeah, I can click around and see how it works. But we're gonna go back. And in here you can see the code of the components.
John, can you zoom in a little bit?
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
it's a little small, yeah.
All right. So here you can click around and then you can see the code that is related to the components. And this is what we are going to use to build up our
And for those unfamiliar with Adobe XD, it's really a tool in which any designer can work easily without having to write any code. So typically a UI designer works in Adobe XD, and then a developer like Jean would then pick up where they left and then move that to Servoy, which is the process he's going to demonstrate. How do you take an Adobe XD or a Figma design that your UI designer made, and then how are you going to take that in a few steps into a Servoy app and make it look exactly the same as it's looking here?
Yeah, so first, I'll just jump into Servoy developer. In here, I already have the structure because, well, this is just a raw structure that I built before. So we can just get into the interesting part. So this is like this right now. It's pretty raw. And we want to make it like this, right? So I'll go one by one, and then we're gonna build something here. For example, for this one, I already also left the style class, which is not here anymore because I deleted it. But yeah, anyways, we're going to put everything in. Right. So for this first one, the user profile label, I'm gonna go back here, and we're gonna see, right, the code. This is probably a bug. Just the thing that I'm interested here is the UI properties, because the layout, well, this is not gonna be too much of, it's not gonna be handy for us right now. Well, I'll just get the code here. Yeah, this is also bug. So what is important here is this part. You have this undefined, you can just skip it. So I have to create a class for this guy. This is a label. I will share component from side by package. So you can just create a style class here, but I'll first go to the last file. Here I've already had all the structure to help out. This title label here, I'll just paste this code in. That's implementation. I'll save it, and then I'll go back here, get this class. Oh, it's already there. And here is style class. I'll just paste in the class that I just created, and then there you go. You already have the style applied here, and you can see in the developer, and you can also go back here, and it's already applied. So we're gonna go for the next part. I'll jump for now this part because it's a I will come back later for this. And I'll be following now the part of the form, right? So I'll go one by one as well. For this guy, it's about the same. So the same process that we did before, but it's different. The UI that you have there, the CSS rules. So I'm just gonna. It's pretty straightforward. I'm just gonna go and grab this part here.
I can see Johan is writing a conversion tool in the background. So you can imagine you could export from Adobe XD, and then Johan would write a tiny converter that would import that in Servoy, so you don't have to do any of this copy pasting.
Yeah, that would be good.
We can beta test it, Johan.
You just told me that you were a great coder, so go ahead.
So yeah, for the input label, I also have added the classing here already in advance. It's just to get down to some steps. So I apply to every label, as you can see here in style class input label, and I'll just save it and go back to the browser, and I'll see that applied as well here. So for this one, it was just one class that I could reuse, and that's it. Now I'll jump to those guys as well and do the same. For this one, I'll create this class. Just grab the code first. I'll come here, And now we have two elements here, so we have to take care of this in two parts. For example, this one, you have this box is a little bit different. It has some rounded corners, and then you can see the code here in UI properties, like I said to you guys. So you're gonna get this, and I'll just go here and create a class called text input, and then paste the code in. And this is it's kind of the format, the shape part of what we have. When I go back here, I also applied as well for every single component that I have, so just to reuse it. So it's already applied. So now the second part, it's the text style inside of this text component, which is this one, and you can now probably reuse for everyone besides the email address. But so here's the same thing. I'll go for the UI properties and get the code. If you don't know better, then you probably get this. Copy all the things. Then it's also gonna work, but because I have a bug here, unnamed, style, and undefined, because the ones that comes later will gonna override the others. So, but I'll just get a clean code. I'm just gonna grab the things that really matter. So in here, I'll paste it in the text part. Oops, not this. Sorry. All right. So we're gonna have a little bit of change now there. Oh yeah, we have a problem here. It's probably because of the font, because this font doesn't have. Yeah. We use a font that we bought, so I'll just use this sans serif, and then there we go. So the content inside, you see that the text is a little bit, it's bigger than before because of this, also the size of the styling of the text inside also shapes a little bit the component. So yeah, for now, just basic stuff, right? So I'm just gonna go jump in this for now. I'll go for the bottom, and then we go back to this. For the bottom, it's just the same thing. It's about the same, so you can just go here. You have also two parts. You have the shape, and you have the text, the style that you have in here. You see, it's pretty repetitive what we are doing now. I created this class called FMBTN. And then I apply to all my components that are buttons in my form, as you can see here, and it's already there. Here in style. So yeah, here one thing that you guys should be looking at is that I still using the BTN and BTN default in here. So I just shape a little bit what already exists. So if I remove those, then it's probably not gonna be good, because the BTN and BTN default that already comes in with the Servoy theme already has the controlling the hover and the other aspects of the button. So I'm just adding a little bit more style on top of that. If you go here, you can already see that it has changed. Now I'm gonna go to the text part. text part, it's all about the same. I'm gonna copy paste this. Right. So you can see here that it's gonna change a little bit. So yeah, this part, the basic part is done. Now we're gonna move to the drop down. And in the drop down, we have a little bit of we have some stuff that we need to look into it. Because first, this is kind of a button. This is a button. So you have to shape the button. And there, well, so you asked me how I get to this structure right here, because this is the class that it's going to shape the the component. One thing that I did was just I inspected the component and see how it's structured. So the content, the div that contains the button is this btn group here. So we're gonna place the code inside of this class. So I created a class and put that inside. So we're gonna just go here. You can see here the drop down, the drop DW that I created, and inside of that I create this. We have kind of workaround to make it 100% wider, because this doesn't have, we don't have this in our XD. It's just a trick that we're going to use to make this wider as possible. Why is this? Yeah. Right.
So far, one person fell asleep.
He's awake now.
Yeah, it's just CSS stuff here. And this part as well, that doesn't contain in there. We don't have that in there. It's about the icon that we want to put the icon, this icon here. We want to put this icon right here. And we're gonna just float right and mess a little bit with the margin. So it's gonna go there. So now we're going to get the button style in here. So yeah, we start to shaping up. Okay, so yeah, I'm not so good at CSS. I'm a backend guy, so if I'm doing this, you guys can also do it. So it's not gonna go into much details. We're just gonna make a little bit like we have in there. So this is pretty much better than with the what we had before. So yes, yeah. Okay, let me see now the logo part. In the logo part, what we have in there, it's also a little bit trickier to do it, because we have to manipulate this round corners here, and we also don't have the rules that's gonna do that for ourselves. So I'm just gonna go to the background to get this UI properties, and I will just put in there, and you guys gonna see that it's not gonna shape the way we want. In the logo, I already applied the styling there as well, and here, as you can see, the logo it's just a label with the initials, and of course you can use a data label to link back to data Servoy. So it's gonna be it. We have the style class here as well. I'm gonna paste in this. And we're gonna get also the text. There are two aspects here that we wanna look. Also the text. Copied. Still forgetting to add the right font. Here, that's it. Okay. So here, what you get is this. It's not that good. But what you can do, it's add this to the border radius and the padding of 5 pixels to get this a little bit better. And that's the thing. You don't follow 100% what is in there. Sometimes you have to go around a little bit. So yeah, this is pretty much what we have now. So it's better than what we have, and it's also responsive. And what we can do here, it's like this guy. The text input, let's get it better now. Put with it 100%, that's gonna be, wow, that's better, even better. Yeah.
As you can see, it takes about 20 minutes to take a nicely designed form in Adobe XD, copy paste some CSS over, and as we saw, you still need to know some of the tricks. I mean, Sean was doing some tricks that I didn't know, but it's already starting to look a lot better than just creating plain vanilla forms. And it really helps that you can reuse a lot of the CSS code from tools like Adobe XD, and from Figma has the same capability. Most UX tools have this capability that you can extract the CSS from them and reuse it in Servoy, especially with Titanium, sorry.
Yeah, so sometimes you have to play a little bit with this. And a thing that I do often, it's like, for example, for this guy, I can just go here, inspect it, and go here after the CSS part that is related to this, and I can also do this to discover what is the best value that I could put in my code. So here's like about 0.5 or 0.6, or 0.6 better. So then I will go with 0.6, and then I go back to my code and then just change it there.
Do most of you use the Chrome tools to go and see and look at your code? Yeah. They've become very useful over the years, yeah, to see why the hell things are happening.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our screen now. Our page it's even better, and yeah, let's see what I can do here. I think that's it.
Any questions so far or observations? I could even do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really straightforward.
Do you use variants at all to pre-populate your classes so that when you drag a button on it will already have that class applied?
Yeah, not yet, but we could use that, and this is really good because we could have like a palette like we were discussing yesterday, right? So you can talk to your design and ask for a palette of, I don't know, labels, forms, everything, every component in your system. You can create this variant, and it's a really good new feature that is coming up to help us. just to drag and drop the component already there. You don't need even to do that. What I'm doing now, you do that previously, like creating the styles, and creating the variants there.
So you have one developer do that, and then all the other developers just design the forms.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so it's not a bad idea once you are using a tool like XD to begin with your style guide, where essentially you create every possible component once, and then you make those in Servoy, and then all developers can use those.
Yeah, and this is gonna make your application fairly consistent when it comes to components. Because what you don't want is like a button looking like for the same kind of the same form, looking different in every page. So yeah, this can be really useful in this sense. All right, I think that's it. I don't have anything more to add on this.
Any specific questions or non-specific questions? I was going to say that ask any question. There are no dumb questions, but we all know that's a lie because there are many dumb questions. But I'm assuming that you don't ask that.
Yeah, maybe in the time that we left, you can build something here as well.
Me, I'm going to build something.
Yeah.
No. No.
Just to show how much it is.
How easy it is, yeah.
How it's.
I could probably build something, yeah.
Jan can build it.
But it's been a while.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone have some question about it or? Okay.
So at the beginning I asked how many people use XD, not a lot. How many of you just start building the forms straight away with no prior design? You use Figma? Ario does. Ario's, yeah, he builds them straight away. Balsamic? Okay, yeah. Sketch? Yeah, I also know a few people that just build their initial versions in PowerPoint or in Keynote, and then they hand well, Sonic remembers this. Aton was well known for doing that. He built everything pixel by pixel in Keynote. Then, as a developer, you would try to replicate what somebody had built in Keynote. It's a lot more work than being able to copy the CSS.
Don't forget to XD design and development mode.
Yeah.
Otherwise you can't see.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Yeah, we just use the web version, and then you can always see it. Yeah. That makes it easy because we tend to attach. Maybe you can open our whole XD model, Jan. Do you have that there?
Yeah.
Because we have like hundreds of screens built out in it, and they're all connected to each other, and all the interaction is in those screens. And I can highly recommend using a tool like this because it saves you a lot of time before you even start developing software. Because sometimes, mainly Johan and I come up with product ideas, but sometimes they're stupid. But we don't recognize they're stupid until you've built out some forms. You start looking at them and then you go, no, this is not a great idea. So now instead of having a developer involved, you guys are the most expensive people of the company. Instead of having a developer involved, you can now figure out up front, how to start changing your mind and even showing it. We often build stuff that we will first show to end users just in XD to get their input on, would you be using something like this? So also when you're getting your end user involved, it can be very helpful to first have it in Figma or in XD, click them around, figure out what's wrong before building any kind of code. Yes.
Do you use a style guide?
Yeah, we have a style guide. Yeah. It's actually one of the screens in XD, not?
Yeah. But I don't know where it is. It's there somewhere.
It's hiding somewhere. It does in XD. It does tend to become messy on how to find things. If anybody has tips on how to organize things in XD, then build it in Playbookify. Yeah. That's actually a good idea. Because we could then start with a link to the style guide and then go deeper from there on. I'm going to use this part.
So,
Yeah.
do
Do you ever find that your designer comes up with a design that you can't implement in Servoy without?
Let's do it again.
Do you ever find that your designer comes up with some sort of screen design that you can't implement because you need or some functionality, or do you have to create a custom component for it?
Yes.
So both happen, yes. And then sometimes we just send it back, or Jan will send it back, and then we reconsider. Or in some cases, yeah, we have to, wait for things, or consider, should we build a component, or is it not worth it? Yeah, because we try to stay away from building components, which I think is a good thing. But sometimes, if you really have to, you have to.
Yeah. So sometimes when this come to me, I tend to look into it and, well, this is gonna be a little bit tricky to handle with a Servoy component. Then I send it back, and then, well, why don't we do like this? Because this is gonna be easier to do it. And then they reconsider it. And sometimes it comes back with a positive. Well, can build that. Sometimes not, and then we have to figure it out how to get around.
Yeah. The obviously we would love to be like how Steve Jobs was running design. I just wanted to just get it done was what he said. Doesn't matter how much it takes. We only have 3 developers, so we really have to think about, there is a big resource constraint if you're a software startup like we are. So if something is going to take, that's why we like to poker sessions before we take them into the backlog, into the planning. Because then we find out, this is going to cost so much time that we believe you should be building something else first. So you prioritize based on. And I think few development teams do that. They just start building, but that's why we like to. I mean, if you're pokering and things are like 1 hour or 2 hours, it's not really worth it to have a long discussion about it. But if something is going to be planned in the poker session, estimated as this is going to be 40 hours, well, now is the time to maybe break that down or reconsider that whole capability and figure out is it worth the cost?
Yeah.
And even if you have bigger budgets, I think you should still be doing that because you should be building the most important things first. All right, we have 2 more minutes. We have time for one dumb question. Juan. You have time, you have one dumb question.
No, sorry. That's the right answer.
All right, guys, thanks a lot.